the CEO of Woodland Pond in New Paltz. I'm actually broadcasting today from home. My kids, I had a snow day today, believe it or not. So I wanted to just do a relatively brief daily update today. It is Tuesday, January 26th. And I just wanted to go over a few things for independent living, and then just provide an overall update of where we are in terms of a number of things here on campus. So yesterday, I announced to all of you that Mary Jo Murray, our wellness RN, tested positive as a result of her routine weekly testing. Her test was Saturday, and the result came in yesterday early morning or overnight, and we immediately made notifications. So I just wanted to address and recognize the fact that I know that this left a lot of people a little bit nervous, because certainly Mary Jo does have a lot of contact with a lot of staff members in her role primarily as being our independent living COVID test goddess. She tests all of us every week, and also she tests the approved caregivers. And then, of course, the caregivers are providing hands-on care in the independent living apartments. So completely understandable that folks would feel, a little bit uneasy with Mary Jo having tested positive. We've gotten so far along this process without, any significant issues. Mary Jo is feeling completely fine. She was very surprised by this result. She actually is exceedingly careful. As far as I know, she has not seen her grandchildren in a very long time. And these are little ones that she usually is with all the time. She's just extremely cautious, and it's very possible that she has a very low viral load, or potentially, will never develop symptoms. But as you know, we do treat every case as if it's a real, true, legitimate positive, even if the person is asymptomatic. So that's how we're treating Mary Jo. We did ask that everyone that normally tests in the art studio, which would be the independent living staff and the private duty caregivers, we asked as many of those people as possible to come in and be tested yesterday, regardless of what days they normally come and be tested. And then we're hoping that the balance are able to be tested either today or tomorrow. We also have a handful of residents that were scheduled to be tested by Mary Jo on Monday because they had very limited exposure to John Holland, who tested positive the week before last. And those folks, if you are on that list, it was a short list, you should have been notified last evening that we need you to come to the art studio today between 12:30 and 4:30 and have a COVID test. One of our other nurses, Kim Klude, is performing those tests. So if you have any questions about that, or if you're one of those people, you would have been notified by me when you were identified as someone that John drove on the Saturday before last. And you would have been notified again yesterday twice, once to let you know that Mary Jo would not be testing you, and then once again in the afternoon to let you know that you should come to the art studio today to be tested. So it's our goal and hope that all these test results are going to come in within the next day or two, and that there are no additional cases of positive that are identified. For those that have been tested, this is more for staff, but you should also then have your normal test. This shouldn't be just you shouldn't use yesterday's test as a replacement. You should use that as in addition to your normal test this week, just so that you can get onto your normal schedule. If you are a caregiver, or if you have a caregiver, we know and anticipate that a lot of you really obviously need your caregivers for all of your activities of daily living, or some portion of your activities of daily living. And so it is not going to be possible for caregivers to not be on campus. And we know and expect that. It's just really important that everybody here on campus, but especially anyone that was tested by Mary Jo last week, or any residents that had Mary Jo in your apartment or cottage last week for a non-testing related matter, that everyone be monitoring your signs and symptoms of illness. That's our number one indicator about whether or not there's potentially an issue. As I said, Mary Jo has no symptoms and she's feeling completely fine. So I'm hoping that this is just a blip on the radar. Mary Jo will be out of the office for at least 14 days from the date of her test, which was Saturday. She will be able to retest on day 15. And with a negative test result, she will be able to return to campus. So that's where we are. If anything changes with that, I will certainly let everyone know. We are now approaching our fourth round of vaccinations. This will be the second dose for the first group of people that were vaccinated on January 8th. So myself included, there will be all of the residents of skilled nursing and any of the 107 staff members that were vaccinated in the first round on January 8th will have our second dose of the Pfizer vaccine here on campus on Friday. So we're very excited about that. We had a very successful vaccination clinic this past Sunday for all of our residents in assisted living and Garden View. We had 100% participation among the residents in those two units. Everyone that was eligible opted for the vaccine. So that's a very similar result to what we've seen in skilled nursing and in independent living. So that's fabulous. We also had a bunch more staff members that were vaccinated that day. And we have a handful or more of additional staff members that will get their first vaccine this Friday. So we just are keeping on this vaccination train. Our vaccination rate overall on campus as we continue to vaccinate, more and more people just keeps going up. And by February 14th, the vast majority of all of those that have opted for vaccination will have had their second doses. So this is going really well. We did have some information from the Family Health Institute over the weekend. They actually began vaccinating their staff members with their second dose of the Moderna vaccine. And I had asked Erica to let me know how the effects were different, if they were, from the second dose, what she's seeing in her nursing staff. And she did say that a few of the staff members experienced feeling much more fatigued, tired after the second vaccine. So, what we're going to do is we're going to collect and disseminate as much available information as we can related to what everyone can expect with their second dose, just as we did with the first dose. We knew we could expect sore arms, or some could, potentially injection site reaction. But as I have said several times, we have had no serious reactions at all to this virus. We've had a couple of people that have had injection site rash, but limited, and no significant, certainly no anaphylaxis, no significant allergic reactions, none of that. So we are looking forward to the second round and to start seeing people being, on their path to being fully inoculated. We currently have no residents that are positive for COVID at this time. We continue to do our routine weekly testing or as needed for every resident in the health center. We do currently have 5 total staff members that are off campus for positive tests. And only 2 of those had mild symptoms. The rest are asymptomatic or never developed any symptoms, but they did test positive through their routine testing. I think the bulk of those, with the exception of Mary Jo, are expected to be tested and returned to the schedule in the next couple of days. So that's a great step in the right direction. I think the last thing I just wanted to mention is that, and I think I may have mentioned this last week, but starting 2 Thursdays ago, the state did start requiring that all of our health center staff once again do resume twice a week testing. So now instead of being tested once per week, the state is requiring that all staff of nursing homes in New York State and adult care facilities, which is our assisted living, that they be tested twice per week. So there's a lot of testing going on. You know, when we see more tests, we normally see more positive results. That's not unusual. That's been our experience here at Woodland Pond. So this is all sort of par for the course right now. What we are working on over the next couple of weeks is visitation. So to the extent that we don't have any new positives in the health center in either staff or residents, we will meet the criteria to allow resuming some sort of visitation for skilled nursing and assisted living and Garden View residents. These will be the ones in the public area, safely distanced, monitored, where the guest has to have had a COVID test. But we are actually looking at that actively, potentially to begin as early as next week. That's very exciting. And of course, the goal of vaccinating on campus is to hopefully meet criteria that have yet to be established in terms of allowing more and more expansive types of visits in the health center. And then certainly we'll feel a lot more comfortable in independent living, resuming certain congregate activities, safely planned and overseen visits, those kinds of things we're looking at potentially the 1st of March. So very excited. But vaccine is step one. Continued testing is step two. And waiting to see the results of the tests that came in from Mary Jo's exposure. So if anybody has any questions for me, you know how to get in touch with me. Email's always great, or you can call me at my desk and I will answer any questions that you have for me. Thank you so much. Bye.